Are you paralyzed with overwhelm when it comes to meal prepping? You know it should make your life easier, but you have no idea how to start. Do you hate to cook, so you give up before you even begin? I've got you. In today's episode, you're going to learn my top 5 meal prep tips to help you overcome the overwhelm and not have to slave over a hot stove or oven in order to get a balanced, delicious meal. Grab a pen and paper and take some notes, and let's go. So I used to spend my entire Sunday meal prepping all of my meals for the week, and it was exhausting. It took me my entire day. I couldn't do anything else, and I felt like a slave to the kitchen. And I actually really like to cook. I like to go grocery shopping. I like all things food, but this was just getting to be way too much for me. And so I found that I just couldn't do it anymore, especially when I had my son. I just completely stopped meal prepping altogether. And it really kind of made things go a little haywire in terms of my diet because I didn't have foods that I could quickly pull out of the refrigerator and eat so that I could just not have to think about preparing a meal every time that I wanted something to eat. Preparing a meal every time that you need to eat a meal is really hard because one, sometimes you're just not near a kitchen. Two, you don't have the time. Three, you don't have the energy or even the brain capacity to do all of that. And that's where meal prepping comes in. Meal prepping is so important because it's going to help you be able to stay on track with fueling your body properly so that you are not under fueling and you are able to boost your energy, boost your performance and your health, but not have to dirty a million dishes every single time that you want to eat something. You don't have to cook and slave over a hot stove every time that you want to eat something. And you don't even have to think about it. But here's the deal. If you don't like to cook, that is okay. You don't need to make fancy meals in order to be able to utilize meal prepping and reap the benefits of meal prepping. So I'm going to give you my 5 top tips for meal prepping. And the first one is using convenience foods. This is something that I think a lot of people think they shouldn't do because you keep hearing, don't eat prepackaged foods. But not all prepackaged foods are going to be created equally. So first off is buying a rotisserie chicken. If you go to Costco, you can get a rotisserie chicken for $5. That is the best deal going. You don't have to eat the skin. You can pull the skin off, but utilize that rotisserie chicken. You could pull the chicken off and you can get so many meals out of that. When you are creating a meal prepped meal or any meal for that matter, you need to make sure that you're having a protein, a carbohydrate, a fat, and either a fruit or a vegetable. So a rotisserie chicken is going to count as your protein for that meal. Next up, utilize frozen vegetables. Steam in the bag vegetables are completely fine, or you could buy just a giant bag of frozen vegetables, put them in a container that you can microwave with a little bit of water, and it's going to steam your vegetables perfectly for you. And then use something easy like bags of potatoes. These are my favorite because all you have to do is just wash them off and throw them in the oven for an hour. And you could do something else during that time, or you could stick them in the microwave. So I'll use regular potatoes and I'll also use sweet potatoes, and I'll just mix up the type of potatoes. So if you were to mix together rotisserie chicken, some frozen vegetables, and a baked potato, congratulations, you have now just made yourself a meal. And you can meal prep that. You can put all of that into a container, put a little bit of butter or olive oil on your vegetables and on your potato, and now you have a complete meal. Next up is you could use instant or pre-made rice, also frozen quinoa. Cascadian Farms, I believe, makes frozen quinoa with garlic kale in it. It's delicious. You can also buy pre-made meatballs. Some of these are going to be better than others, so you just want to check the ingredients on some of them. Frozen pizzas are going to be great. And I know you're probably thinking, pizza? Really? I can have pizza? Yes, you can have pizza. You just want to dress it up with some vegetables and put a little bit of protein on there. So rip up some of that rotisserie chicken and throw that on your pizza. That's completely fine. And then you can get other things like some whole wheat bread or some sprouted grain bread or some whole wheat wraps or a flatbread. And now you can use that leftover rotisserie chicken and put that on your sandwich as a nice chicken sandwich, or you can even make it into a chicken salad sandwich. Pair that with an apple and some peanut butter and maybe some pretzels on the side, and now you have a complete meal. The tip here is to not get too fancy. You don't need to have these fancy dancy meals in order to meal prep. All you need is the components. So just take a trip around your grocery store and see what are some things that I can utilize that are already done for me so that I can save myself some time and some energy. Number 2 is to make sure that you are overlapping ingredients when you make these meals. So I gave the example of rotisserie chicken, and rotisserie chicken is really easy because it's very versatile and you can use it on a lot of different things. You can stuff a potato with it. You can put it on pizza. You can make a sandwich out of it. You can make a salad out of it. You can just have it with rice, or you could put it on top of pasta with a jar of tomato sauce. It's super versatile. Same thing with ground beef. Cook up some ground beef and you can put that over some pasta with a jar of sauce again and make some spaghetti with meat sauce. You can stuff that in a potato with some broccoli and cheese on top. It's delicious, by the way. You can also mix that together with some rice and some mushrooms and peppers and onions and a little bit of avocado. And now you have yourself a burrito bowl. You really want to make sure that you are using overlapping ingredients. So pick one main food and then think of a couple different ideas that you can make from that one central idea. I actually have a blog on this for some freezer meals that you can make, and I give you a ton of different examples that you can make out of that one ingredient. And I'm going to link that below for you in the show notes. Number 3 is to eat the same meal 2 to 3 times and then move on, meaning you batch cook. So we're not making just one serving of a meal when we cook something. We're going to make several servings. So that means you're going to double or even triple the recipe if you're following a recipe, or if you're cooking a pound of chicken, you may want to make 2 or even 3 pounds of chicken. And you may be thinking, well, I'm just cooking for myself, or it's just me and one other person. That's really too much food. That's okay. You can freeze that and you can use that for a later time. You can freeze just about anything besides fresh vegetables and fruits. So you're going to cook a lot of whatever it is that you're cooking at that time. Freeze it if you're not going to use it within a couple days, and then pull it back out and use it for another meal. But if you are going to use it in a couple days, that's great, because now you don't even have to take out the food from the freezer and thaw it out. You're going to have several meals out of that one recipe or that one ingredient. Now, I would not suggest making one ingredient and eating that for every single meal of every week, because you're going to be really, really bored of it. You're going to get sick of leftovers and you're never going to do this again. So just eat it a couple times and then you're going to move on. Make sure that you are utilizing the power of batch cooking. Number 4 is to utilize time-saving cooking methods like an Instant Pot, or if you're going to be gone all day and you have a slow cooker or a crock pot, use that. That's great. You can just throw something in your Instant Pot or your crock pot and set it and forget it. You can go do other things. You can go off to work. It'll keep it warm for you. It'll be there waiting for you and greeting you with a nice, delicious smell when you get home. Crock pots and Instant Pots are one of the greatest inventions personally. And I know people love their air fryers, and that's great and all, but an air fryer is only going to keep your food crispy for right then and there. So I would not suggest trying to use an air fryer to meal prep your meals, because it's not going to be crispy anymore. So use things like an Instant Pot or a crock pot. You can throw a whole bunch of meat, potatoes, vegetables, broth, whatever you have in there, and you can make a complete meal right there in the Instant Pot or the crock pot. A good example would be a pot roast. A pot roast is going to be meat, potatoes, and carrots. Now you have a complete meal in your crock pot or your Instant Pot, and you can get several meals out of that one recipe. Last up is batch cooking some staples at the same time. So make sure that you are utilizing your time well and you're cooking 2 things at the same time. So for example, while you're cooking rice on the stove, you are grilling some chicken. While you're baking potatoes, you are making shredded beef in the crock pot or Instant Pot. While you're boiling up some pasta, you are baking some fish in the oven. You get the idea. You're doing 2 things at one time because you don't have to stand there and watch your baked potatoes bake in the oven. That's like watching paint dry. You also don't need to stand there and watch your rice cook on the stove, because that's pretty awful too. There's nothing to really see. You just kind of put it on and then let it do its thing for a little while. you can be doing something else at the same time. So make sure that you are cooking 2, maybe even 3 things at the same time. And also, if you're breaking out your grill to grill some chicken, load up that grill and grill a bunch of different things at the same time. I'll throw on pork tenderloins. I'll make burgers at the same time. Load that baby up so that you are cooking a whole bunch of things at one time. And then now you've gotten even more meal prepping done at the same time. So let's recap here on the 5 tips for meal prepping. Number 1 is to utilize convenience foods. Number 2 is to make recipes that have overlapping ingredients. Number 3 is to eat the same meals 2 to 3 times and then move on. So make sure you are batch cooking. Number 4 is to utilize a crock pot or an Instant Pot. And number 5 is to batch cook some staples at the same time. I would love to find out how these tips work for you with meal prepping. And if you have more tips to share, please join my Female Sports Nutrition Facebook group and share with the rest of the group.